Hi, my name is Andre Bada and I'm a second year student doing Geography with Professional Placement at the University of Manchester. Today I'm going to present you a story map that I created as part of a summer internship at the university working on toward a UK fire danger rating system research project. This story map is based on a case study. It's a wildfire threat analysis case study, and a wildfire threat analysis is basically a research approach on wildfires, which looks at causes of ignition of a fire, the hazard itself, so looking at the evolution of a fire, and then values at risk, which basically refers to the impacts a fire has on a community or a larger area. This story map is based on the Cairngorms National Park, and I'll just get started. On the right-hand side of the screen, you can see a photo of an actual wildfire, whereas on the right you can see the title of the story, the name of the case study series that this story map is part of, so Wildfires, which is actually a name that I came up with during my internship, the name of the creator, myself, and this is a draft. It hasn't been published officially on the official website yet because my team, they still need to do some checks regarding the text and some other functionalities. Here you can see multiple ways that you can explore the map, either on a phone, a tablet, desktop, or full screen. I'll just quickly show you. This is a phone and you can revert it so it can be explored on any sort of device really, but I'm gonna go back to full screen. Here you can see some tabs, and as you click on them, you'll be taken to several parts of the story. I've tried to limit the number of tabs here, since I have explored some writing for the web, user experience principles, and to not overwhelm users. I know the advised number would be 5, but I've tried to work around it since it was the first time I worked with this. And yeah, this is the beginning of the story with an introduction for the visitors, with an audio, a fire sound effect. I think you can hear it if I were to play it. I'm just going to play it for 3 seconds so you can get a sense of a devastating wildfire. I hope that worked. First, I was trying to keep it in a loop, the audio, rather than stop at the 15 seconds, but I don't think that's a great idea, so it can be quite loud. And yeah. Here you can see some fire risk signs in the park. Each photo in the story has an attribution, which basically refers to the source of the photo. And then we can click on the tab or scroll. I'm just gonna click on it. Yeah. So you're taken to the first most important bit of the story, which is the why behind our choice to explore the Cairngorms. It is basically quite a big area of protected land in Scotland. You can interact with this map. It's called an express map. You can zoom in and out, and now I'm going to zoom out and you can see it's quite big. Yeah, you can see Scotland here, but you can also zoom out to see the whole country. But I'm just gonna zoom in, or actually I can use this home button to be taken back to the initial overview. Here I am covering some other key information about the park, its size, and the most important aspects of it, which are basically wildlife and landscape, scenery, all sorts of things, cultural heritage, and mountains. Using the inverted pyramid technique from journalism, I am first exploring some um, key, very general information about the park, and then I dive into more detail to keep people engaged with what I'm saying. And I've used this in most of the parts of the story. So causes, evolution, impacts. Um, the main reasons behind fire activity are climate change, land use management, and people's relationship with the environment, which basically refers to people's behavior, whether we go out and decide to have a barbecue or not. And that could lead to a devastating wildfire. Here is more information on the vegetation of the park, which is upland heather, and it's quite sensitive to climate change and most importantly carbon rich, which basically means that if this type of vegetation were to be ignited and um, suffer from a wildfire, um, some really significant carbon releases could get out from that trapped environment. Um, Here is a graph showing fire weather projections for Scotland under different scenarios. So either under 2 or 4 degrees Celsius global warming, you can see these red bars. We're getting deeper into the story now. So, as I said, I'm looking at the causes of a wildfire, its evolution, and the impacts. Going to causes, here is a quote. So, the StoryMap builder allows you to use multiple functions. This is a quote, and it can be quite interesting for people to see what different officials are saying about a specific situation. It also makes some room and enhances the clarity of the story. So white space is quite important to not overwhelm visitors. And then I am going to show you some interactions. So this is a heat map, and as visitors scroll down, you can see where wildfires are concentrated in the Cairngorms in the northwest, east. And then I'm scrolling down, and the map changes by showing fires by their size. And you can zoom in and out and see fires by size. You can also click on this legend and see their size by square meter. I can also close the legend, and then I am using some engaging language techniques by integrating some questions on why there might be smaller fires in such areas. You might be able to tell it's a town, whereas in rural areas, not so many people, there's bigger fires. And I've already given the answer. It is people. People are the main causative agent that the FAO we're talking about. And basically, where we are, how we travel, and our activities are the main drivers of fire behavior and devastating wildfires. Population density is perhaps the most obvious one because fire is caused by people. So areas with high populations tend to register more fires, and I'm taking the examples from above, and I'm showing visitors that, for example, a town with a highly concentrated population, so red areas, will have smaller wildfires because they get to be recorded, and fire brigades will be called faster than in a rural area where there aren't so many people, so fires don't get to be extinguished that easily, and therefore more vegetation gets to burn. Visitors can have a go themselves and explore recorded fires by size, so you can interact with the map, zoom in, zoom out, and click on this home button to be taken to the default map view. Proximity to roads and paths is yet another important factor to consider, and I've used the swipe function, so you can swipe to the right and the left and see that fires are mostly concentrated nearby roads, because roads and footpaths alike, they increase our accessibility to land. So for example, there's no fires reported here. Why? Because we cannot get to that land and burn it. So yeah, this is perhaps a good explanation, hopefully. And then I'm getting back to the point of land cover. Heather, it covers just over 50% of the park's surface, so purple bit of land, that's heather. And to remind you, heather is rich in carbon, and that can lead to serious CO2 emissions should this type of vegetation that you can see here be ignited. And as you swipe, you can see patterns of land after prescribed fire, which is a land management technique praised by some, hated by others. Some associations, such as BASC and the Moorland Association, they are in favor of this technique due to several reasons, which are provided here, whereas some other organizations, they are not really in favor of this technique. And here I have used an interactive embed function, so you can click on it and report a fire should you not be in favor of prescribed fires. So you can go to the bottom. I'm pretty sure it's, yeah, you can use the web form or the mobile app. And this is quite a good function to keep people engaged and interested in what you're saying, so they have something to play with and not just read text, which is quite important. But then again, you want the most interactive bits to be the star of your story map, because this is really what's it all about, right? Scrolling down, you get to the evolution of fires. So visitors are familiar with ignition risks, so now they can have a look at how fires are evolving over years. And again, I have tied this back to the reverted pyramid technique in journalism. And basically, I am giving people the general information about fires to then dive deeper into the problem and show them more detailed facts. So I've created these graphs using Excel and pivot tables, and you can get a sense of reasons of ignition and their evolution over time, with accidental fires, deliberate and not known source. Here I am using some climate datasets from the Climate Research Unit, CRU, to show people that the average maximum temperatures, but also the average temperatures have increased compared to this 30 years time frame. So it shows that these 2 years have been quite dry, and therefore there's been more fires. 2018, quite a dry year for the UK. 2013, at first I wasn't quite sure why, but it turns out to have been quite a hot year. And perhaps the most adorable, let's say, section of this story map is looking at the assets at risk. And why did I say adorable? Because of this cute creature. They're quite cute, aren't they? Anyway, there's this thing in wildfire threat analysis. It refers to rural-urban interface. So basically, the areas that we're most interested in are areas that are at the border between urban areas, so cities, towns, and rural areas. And they are quite, what word could I use? Land in the UK is quite, it's designed like a patchwork, so these areas are not very well delimited. You get quite a lot of interaction between them. So should a fire occur in the rural-urban interface, it can cause a lot of disruption and impact both ecological assets, but also roads, schools, and other institutions. However, since the Cairngorms National Park is quite a huge area with many protected spaces, green spaces, habitats. We're not really interested in the buildings bit, so we're going to look at natural habitats and places like this. So here I have used a map tour. You can have a look at several endangered species found in the Cairngorms National Park. Actually, the Cairngorms National Park is home to 25% of the UK's endangered species, so it was quite important to note that and create this map tour, which is media focused, so even though the location of each value at risk is important, it's more important for visitors to actually see what they could impact should they light a fire and not attend it correctly anywhere in the Cairngorms. So we're having a look at the most important animal species, also some plants, and just a quick note, every single photo has an attribution which shows the source of the photo, and this is a wetland. It's highly accessible by many means of transport, so after what we've talked about, you might sense why this is at risk, because of people. People can get there quite easily. This is the feedback section, and it's yet another reason why this story hasn't been published yet. It's because my internship came to an end and we didn't get to discuss the feedback approach. We were thinking of creating an embed and put survey 123 form by Esri in there so that people could leave us some feedback if they liked or disliked this wildfire initiative. And here is a card showing the project's official website. And finally, we've got to the bottom of the story, the final bit. This is the credits section, so you can see all the attributions for each of these components of the story. So the content itself, climate data, photos, even the fire sound effect, and express maps, which are provided by Esri UK. I hope you liked this story map, and thank you so much for watching this, and see you later. Goodbye. Have a good day.